Hello again, everyone. Welcome back. In this technical analysis of the stock market video, I call it running on empty because that's what the S&P 500 is doing. It's running on empty. You've seen some of the discussion and people have been tweeting about it. Articles have been written about how narrow the leadership is and how basically the S&P 500 has been going up because of, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Tesla. Well, the top two stocks in the S&P 500 by weight are Apple and Microsoft. They account for 13.3% of the S&P 500, 2 versus 498. And if you add in Google, which has actually two stocks in there, Google Class A and Google Class C, they account those three entities, Alphabet, Apple, and Microsoft account for 16.8%. So we're going to dive in and take a look at Apple, Microsoft, and Google. But we're first going to look at the S&P 500, look at a couple of indicators. And let's start off here with the side-by-side view. This is weekly, the Dow Industrials. It was up 375 points for this last week. The S&P 500 up 54. The NASDAQ 100 up 247 points. So clearly the S&P or the NASDAQ 100 was the strongest. We got that bearish engulfing candle the previous week, and then we got continuation this week to the upside. Well, we'll see how much further this has to go. Both the S&P and the Dow Industrials, pushed back and gave up about half of their range this last week. So the bears tried to take control towards the second half of the week. The Dow, when you look at this, it clearly came back up into that what had been support area, the December low. And, when we broke down below it, came back up, tested it this last week, and got repulsed out of it. So that should hold. And then we'll look for this to continue to move to the downside. Now, let's take a look at the S&P 500. So this is the daily view of the S&P 500. These dashed lines in here, this has become kind of a critical area, the 4100 area. It first became support back over in February of last year. And then we broke below it in May, came back up and chopped around in that territory in June, early June, came back up, we struggled to get through it in the beginning of August, went higher, came back down, it wouldn't hold. And we broke below it, became resistance in September, resistance at the end of November, beginning of December, resistance the middle of December. Then we broke above it slightly the beginning of February, chopped around, and now have been repulsed again back to the downside. So pretty interesting, pretty strong level in here. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Now, the picture we've got here on the Elliott wave count labeling for the S&P 500 is this. We're in intermediate wave 3 to the downside. So I believe intermediate wave 2, the counter trend move, has finished as a zigzag in ABC. We've started to break down. We're working our way to the downside here, but we need the first 5 little waves to form what? Minor wave 1. Well, within intermediate wave 3, just like intermediate wave 1, we're going to need 5 waves. Now, so right now we're trying to flush out the first minor wave, then we'll get 2, but 1 wave at a time. So here's where I believe we are. And let me take a quick look at the, just drill down a little bit and look at the 130-minute chart, which is divides the day into 3 equal bars. So it's 130 minutes for each bar that I've got in here. So clearly within the third minute wave, I believe we've had 1, let me see if I can get this to cooperate, 1, 2, and then we had this little wedge counter trend pattern in here. We had a WXY combined corrective pattern, 2 zigzags in here. And we broke down and we didn't come below this channel line, which on Friday morning. Got real close, slightly went below it. And so right now I'm watching to see, here's the big move on Wednesday. So I'm watching for this to turn back around and break down out of this, which is what I'm expecting to have happen. These things really aren't lined up. Do not look at these and say, oh, well, Joe expects it to be here by a certain time. These are placeholders right now. Let me just say that again. These are placeholders right now. Until I actually say I think it's going to this level by a certain time, that's all these are. So let me focus on the E-mini futures, the S&P 500 futures. This is the Globex around the clock view in here. Trades from 5 in the evening Central Time to 4 around the clock, and then closes at 4 o'clock in the afternoon Central Time. So here's what happened on Friday where we came back. Here's Wednesday. Well, actually, here's Wednesday. Here's a bounce back. I think we've got this 1, 2. And so now my best take on what I think is happening is I think we have a little flat going on in here. An A, B, and a C. And if that is correct, then this should start rolling over and heading south probably Sunday evening. So I'll be watching to see if that happens or not. But that's what I'm looking for come Sunday evening. All right, so when I look at this pattern, this right here is impulsive, okay? This is corrective. All of these overlapping waves are corrective. So now the real question is the corrective structure, is it done? It looks to me like it is. We tried to break down. You notice how back on the, when I looked at the SPX, did I show the SPY? I don't think I did. You know, we didn't break down out of that channel. And then when I look at the E-mini, we did. But then we bounced right back up into it. So it'll be interesting to see what we get come Sunday evening. We've got the same count on the SPY, but let me just show you the SPY since that's what, everybody, trades. If you aren't trading the futures and you're trading the S&P, you're trading the SPY. So here's the breakdown, little different picture. This looked more to me like a rising wedge type pattern than a pure, channel flag or whatever. So this is the way I've got it structured, and we did with that move down on Wednesday afternoon, breaking down out of that, pulled back up into the middle of it, then came back down, and now, we're working our way south. So that's what I'm looking at here on the SPY. And, yes, now I'll tell you, on the SPY, here's a target I've got. I've got for minute wave 3, I'm looking at 365. So that's my expectation. We'll see how did the 5 waves in here within minute wave 3, how do they play out? How does this one, this third wave, act? This is going to be interesting. We closed at 395.72. It says 396 over here because that's a little bit of the aftermarket type of price action on Friday afternoon. Okay, so that is the picture on the S&P 500. I talked about the E-mini. Let's look at a couple of indicators here. Okay, the first one I'm going to pull up is the percent of stocks above their 200-day moving average in the S&P 500, and this is what I'm looking at. We're sitting at 40%, 40.2 if you round it, percent of the stocks in the S&P 500 are above their 200-day moving average. So kind of interesting. We're definitely trending down. We definitely broke down out of the counter trend move. When did that happen? That happened on February 20th. And when did this peak? February 2nd, when the S&P 500 peaked. And it's interesting that the 21-day moving average on this has broken down below the 50 level. And it seems like whenever the 21-day breaks down below the 50 level and stays down below the 50 level, we are in, these bearish moves. And it doesn't matter when, it's happening back over in here when we broke down back in February 2022. The counter trend rally had never got above the 50 level. And, I went back and looked at various other corrective 2015 to 2016, same thing happened, and, on and on. Now, the other interesting thing I just want to show you real quick is how does this look? And I may have shown you this once before. How does this look when you get a really bad dose of selling? You know, just to show you how bad this can get. Yes, you can get down into this level down below 20 and down around 10, but look how it's got below the 10% level and stayed there for 5 months. It broke below the 10% level in October of 2008, and it didn't really get back above it and stay above it until April of 2009. So yes, it can become very, very negative, which is why we keep an eye on it, why we watch it. We got down into this 10 to 20 level twice last year, and now we're trending down again. And yeah, we've broken below the December lows. So, you know, that's the expectation I've got on the S&P. I mean, the Dow has broken below the December lows, but when you go back and take a look at the SPX, it hasn't done that yet. But my expectation is that it will be doing it fairly shortly. We'll see how these waves unfold. Okay, the other one I wanted to show you was the percent of stocks above their 50-day moving average. Now we're a little bit lower. We're down here at the 22.86, so let's say 22.9% of the S&P 500 are above their 50-day moving average. So a lot more negativity going on at this level, as you'd expect. This bar right here is basically saying, hey, this did not confirm the move higher in the S&P 500 and the counter trend move that went up on September 2nd. This did not go to a higher high in here or get up above 90 like we did 2 other times, August and beginning of December, end of November. So again, a little bit of a foreshadowing of the weakness that is going on in the S&P 500, and now we're rolling over. All right, so let's take a look at Apple, Microsoft, and Google. And I'm just going to look at the Google Class A is what I normally chart. So let's pull up Apple. So a couple of things. First of all, the Elliott wave picture, very similar to what's going on, of course, in the S&P and Dow. I've got this as that we're in intermediate wave 3 and that we're working 1-2 to the downside in here. This wave has not become bigger than this wave, so I'm still holding this count for Apple, and we'll watch and see. When I look at this as an ABC, I'm thinking maybe we have one more little push to the higher in here, and it could be interesting that we come up and test this high that occurred, this wave 2 high on September 12th, which closed at 163.43. The high was 164.26. So we're up into that area. We closed 160.25 on Friday. So that's what I'm thinking. Now, when I look at this view here, I like looking at the Tom DeMark indicators, primarily the sequential sell setup and the sequential sell countdown or the completion. It kind of gives you a feel for sometimes when the momentum and the trend exhaust themselves. Well, right now, here we had a little short-term momentum exhaustion at the low in here, had a sequential buy setup, and now we are 1 day away from a sequential sell setup on the TD sequential sell setup indicator. So we need 9 days, okay? And we're very close. We get that little push higher in here. By the way, I need to see it close above this close right here, which is 159.28. We get a close above that level, 159.28, and then that will be a 9th day, and the setup will be of a 9-day completion in here on Apple. So the point is, yes, we've had strong moves in these very narrow, select, high-tech stocks that's been helping drive the S&P and the NASDAQ 100. But I believe that the momentum and the trends are getting a little bit extended and running into exhaustion in here, and we're about to get there. In some of these, we already are there. All right, let's take a look at Microsoft. Let's take a look at the moving average view. Now I don't see it up here on the daily view. We have the same kind of signal here on the sequential buy setup. Here we had a sequential sell setup that failed. Okay, so just because you get them doesn't mean they're guaranteed. But it's the other interesting thing though is you can look at these in multiple time frames. And when I break down and look at the 195 minute, which is another one of my favorite time frames to look at, it breaks the day into 2 equal bars. I like it because I think of a morning session and an afternoon session. And so when I look at the 195 minute on the Microsoft, well, we got that on the 17th. We got a sequential sell setup complete. And yeah, we're still kind of meandering around a little bit, but it does kind of tell you that some things have pushed quite far, quite fast. Now, when I look at, let me go back to the daily. I think I have the LA wave picture on here. Let me double check. Yes, I do. And it's the same thing. When I look at the ABC corrective pattern, and this is a little bit different than Apple, but I've got this as WXY for intermediate wave 2. And so this C wave could push a little higher. Now I know I just talked about how one of the indicators, well, that ninth wave had been complete. It's the setup phase that got complete. We'll see what else we get. But look at the gap over here. It would be really interesting if over the next 1 or 2 days we push up, close that gap, and that's all she wrote. And then we roll right over and break down. All right, and let's take a look at Google. Okay, so Google, when you look at the moving average view, look how this has just been, kind of chopping around in here. Rally, sell off, rally, higher. Here, February, and so far that high has held. It hasn't been taken out yet. Okay, but when I look at the DeMark indicator again, the sequential sell setup, we had day 8 on Friday. So again, I need to see a close above this close right here, which is 104.92. We get that kind of a close on Monday, and day 9 will be in, and this sequential sell setup will have completed that phase of it. Now, just like the others, we could push a little bit higher, come right up into this resistance level in here. Where did this close? 107.64, the high 108.18. We partially closed the gap right in here, but a complete close of the gap would be up into this territory, 110, 109, 110, I would have to say. And so it's like, are we really going to push that far? We'll find out. When I look at the LA wave picture that I've got, yeah, I'm thinking we could get a little bit higher to finish off this wave, Y wave in here, because this, again, for this Y to be a zigzag, we're talking about an A, B, and a C. So that's what I'm looking at in here for wave 2. I think we're very, very close. We'll just look to see, do we take this out? Do we close the gap? Or are we basically almost there already? We got a little reversal bar here on Wednesday. But again, just like a lot of these reversal bars, you need follow through to the downside. We didn't get that on Thursday or Friday in here in Google. Okay, so that is the picture that we've got with the 3 biggies. We'll see how they trade. We'll see how much more we get Monday and Tuesday, if we get anything more at all. I mean, we're already overbought quite a bit, just like when we've gotten before. So if you felt like the video was helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, hit that little subscriber button. And if you'd like more of this information on a regular basis, head on over to joehenches.net. Check out the website, check out the membership. Everyone have a great rest of the weekend and a wonderful week. We'll talk to you on the next video.